So, I want to talk about attachment and neurodevelopment. Similar topic to what I did in the last video by Dr. Aimee Apigian. This is part 1. And yeah, so there's visual. Okay, so basically the medulla and the spinal cord from birth to 2 months. We have the pupillary light reflex, which is visual. Then we have the startle reflex, which is auditory. We have the tactile reflex, which is tactile. We have the, which you might think of as rooting, Babinski reflex, and the Gallant reflex. Movement of arms is mobile, and legs without bodily, movement of arms and legs without bodily movement. Birth, crying, and the birth cry and crying in general is language. And grasp reflex is the hand. 1 to 5 months, we have the outline perception and tracking horizontally. This is visual. There's neurodevelopment. We have the vital response to threatening sounds. It's auditory. Perception of vital sensations, which, perception of vital sensation like heat, cold, pain, and hunger. That's tactile. The arm and the belly crawl, which is mobile, crawling on prone positions, culminating in a cross position. The vital crying in response to threats to life is language, and the vital release, which is hand. Then we have 3 to 14 months. This is the mid-cerebrum, midbrain level. So we had, first was spinal cord medulla, then we had pons. I don't know if I said that, pons for 1 to 5 months. 3 to 14 months is the mid-cerebrum, the midbrain level. Visual is appreciation of fine detail, tracking vertically, unified ocular movement, meaningful sound appreciation, proprioception, gnostic sensation. I skipped a few, sorry. Meaningful sound appreciation is auditory, so we did visual, auditory, proprioception, and a gnostic sensation of position sense, that's tactile. Mobile is hands, knees, creeping, culminating in cross pattern balance. Language is creation of meaningful sounds like babbling, and for hand, it's prehensile grasp and cortical opposition in either hand. 6 to 24 months, you have the initial cortex. We have visually the convergence of visual and symbol perception. Depth perception. Auditory, we have understanding of 2 words of speech. Tactile awareness of the 3rd dimension and objects that appear flat. Mobile is walking with arms in balance. Roll at, in the balance roll at or above shoulders. Then we have language, 2-word phrases, spontaneous and meaningful. And hand, we have cortical opposition in either hand. Then from 9 to 36 months, which is the early cortex, neurodevelopment, we have visually differentiation of similar but unlike visual symbols. Auditorily, understanding 10 to 25 words and 2-word couplets. Tactile, we have differentiation of similar but unlike objects. Mobile, we have walking with arms freed from the primary balance roll. Then with language, we have 10 to 25 words and 2-word couplets. And for the hand, we have cortical opposition bilaterally and simultaneously. Then from 18 to 72 months, we have the primitive cortex development. We have visually the IDing of symbols and letters. And then auditorily, we have understanding of 2,000 words and sentences. Tactile, we have conceptual understanding of objects. Mobile, we have walking and running in complete cross pattern. Language, we have 2,000 words of language and short sentences. And hand, we have bimanual function, 1 hand in a skilled role. With 1 hand in the skilled role. From 3 to 8 years, the final section here, we have sophisticated cortex. Visually, there's visual lateralization and reading comprehension, auditory lateralization and complete language understanding, hand lateralization and tactile identification of objects. That's tactile. Then we have mobility, we have skilled leg movements and leg lateralization. For language, we have complete vocabulary and proper sentence structure. And for the hand, we have hand lateralization for writing. And And talking about these patterns of development, I just wanted to bring in some fascinating mathematics. So we have the Fibonacci numbers. And I want to share how they're. This is a section from Rabbi Asher Crispe. I think he's a rabbi. I can't commit right now at this moment if he's a rabbi, but I believe he is. Okay, so he constructed from the addition of the first two numbers in this series, 1 plus 1 equals 2, and then the second and third numbers add to give the next number, and then 1 plus 2 equals 3, and so on. 2 plus 3 equals 5, 3 plus 5 equals 8, 5 plus 8 equals 13, 8 plus 13 equals 21. And so we can simply write the series as 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, 233. That's the first 13 numbers. In Kabbalah, it has been proposed that Fibonacci numbers, which are pervasive throughout the universe, be referred to as Mesparei Ava, love numbers, an account of any two consecutive numbers acting as the parents which give birth to the next number as their child. And you have this number 233, which is the 13th number, the same as regel, which means foot. And regel is the same 233 as zachar, which is male. And this is the same 233 as zocher, which means remembering. And this is the same 233 as Eitz Chaim, which means tree of life. So those are just some interesting patterns. Really, all of this is in the tree of life. And then Robert Dunbar, the anthropologist, says human societies contain buried within them in natural groupings of about 150. Basically, we're talking here about sets, right? So it's the number of people you would not feel embarrassed about joining uninvited for a drink if you happen to be bump into them at the bar. That's how he calls it. And so Dunbar's number, named for Robin Dunbar. Did I call him Robert? I meant Robin Dunbar. Is the ideal community, is a group of roughly 150 people or less, who hunt resources, share, thrive, raise kids, and this is Psychiatry and Clinical Neurosciences 73, 427 to 440, 2019, and it gets he says it gets complicated and stressful if there's more. You need more laws, it's more time consuming, and the information to remember burns us out. I want to share two more comments here, specifically on a similar topic. So we have Satoshi Kanazo, who is an evolutionary psychologist, who says, as population density becomes too high, the human brain feels uneasy and uncomfortable, and such unease and discomfort may translate into reduced subjective well-being. In other words, there's this Savannah theory of happiness. The higher the population density a person is in, the less happy they'll be, which is interesting to think about. So the last thing I want to share is called the biopsychosociocultural model. And it's from neuropsychiatry PhD expert Dr. MD Takahiro Kato. And there's this like upper half and lower half. In the upper half you have I wonder if I could just show you maybe to give you an idea of how it looks. It's kind of like this model here. So we have the upper half and the lower half. You see the lines across, and it's like these petals. And then on the outside of the petals, it's like what it would look like between the two. So we have basically on the top, we have social anxiety and PTSD. And between the two, you will see anxiety, fear, phobia, escape. Then you have on one side personality disorder, where you have psychological pain between PTSD, trauma, psychological pain, and then you have personality disorder like avoidant, narcissistic, schizoid. Then you have depression, which is anhedonia, loss of motivation, suicidal ideation. Now on the other side you had social anxiety. Then you have problems in social communication and social interaction developing into autism spectrum disorder. And then as it gets closer to this line, we have now schizophrenia and psychosis, where you will see delusions and hallucination. Now all of this on the top we would consider a psychiatric state. And then basically, when we go below it, we would say, on the left side we have psychological factors like loneliness, shame, lower trust, lower self-esteem. And then we have sociocultural factors like independent society, weaker paternal value, strong mother-child relationship, and biological factors, and internet, IT, society, AI. And then you have biological factors like oxidative stress, inflammation, and microglia. In the middle of all this, you have something called hikimori, which is kind of like, say, something in the middle of this, the biopsychosocial sociocultural model, where people are saying they're actually suffering from this. I would think even my father, this describes him very well in the middle of all of this. All right, so that's all for today. All right, bye.